Hi guys, for those of you that are new to following me, then welcome. For those of you that already follow me on Instagram and have followed me onto YouTube, welcome back. This is a very special reading that I will be doing on the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, which is Boris Johnson. So Boris is set to address the public to announce changes with regards to whether he may potentially ease the lockdown and the tier 4 restrictions that have been imposed on the southern part of England and also London. So I just want to see what's going on with him at the moment and see what potentially Boris may announce on the 30th. So without further hesitation, we're going to get straight into this. I'm just using a classic Waite tarot deck. So show me the current energy surrounding Boris Johnson. Boris is also a Gemini. His birthday's the 19th of June. Thought I'd mention that. Show me the current energy around Boris Johnson. We've got 7 of Wands. Show me the current energy surrounding Boris Johnson. We've got the 6 of Cups. Show me the current energy surrounding Boris Johnson. And we've got the Hermit. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. So at the bottom of the deck, we've got the 10 of Wands. So with the 10, this represents coming to the end, coming to completion, or something coming around full circle. The wands in traditional tarot represents these burdens, these heavy burdens that have been carried for a very long time. I feel like Boris feels extremely pressured at the moment. He feels very stressed, he feels very anxious, and he feels very weighed down because he has had a lot that he has had to deal with, particularly in the last year. I do feel that he has been trying to make necessary changes, but I do feel that with Boris, he feels heavily limited in terms of what changes he can actually make, simply because of the fact that this situation with regards to the restrictions is causing a lot of sort of discontent, especially amongst people within his own political party. I do feel that Boris has been heavily criticized for the way in which he has handled this situation. I do feel that there are people within his own factions that have actually come out and made suggestions that Boris could have implemented things a lot sooner. So instead of having a mini lockdown in November, if he had had the lockdown earlier, is what I'm seeing, it possibly could have meant that people would have been able to spend Christmases with their families outside of their bubbles. But he feels heavily weighed down and heavily burdened at this time in terms of what to do to move this situation forward. It's actually tiring him out. So I don't feel like Boris sleeps a lot. I feel like he's had a few sleepless nights. Now, what I'm seeing, especially with this 7 of Wands here, there are a lot of people within Boris's own political party that have opposed the way in which he has handled the situation with Europe, and also have opposed the way in which he has handled the virus and the control of the restrictions that he has imposed. I do feel that Boris is going through a tough time to be able to assert himself. I do feel that he is currently feeling as if everything that he's trying at the moment is very futile. There are a lot of people around him that have been giving him advice. I don't necessarily feel that Boris has taken on board all of the advice that he has been given. And I feel as a result of that, there is almost like I'm seeing like a little bit of a divide, or a little bit of a split, almost like bipartisan politics, in which there are people within the Conservative Party that are very much in support of what Boris is doing, but then there are quite a few people within the Conservative Party that are not in favour in the way in which Boris has handled this. I also feel with the 7 of Wands here, I do feel that there are a few people that have spoken to Boris, and they have asked for Boris to consider stepping down because they don't have any faith in the way in which he is running this country. And I do feel like at the moment, Boris feels very much like he's on his own, that he is isolated, and that he is trying to do the best with what he has, and that there are a lot of people that are within his own camp that are not in support of what he's doing. I do feel like there's some form of battle or conflict that he is going through. I do feel that he's very much in this defensive energy, in which he is trying to justify all of the changes, restrictions, policies that he wants to put forward, or even just justifying the way in which he's handling it. I do feel like there is some form of situation in which he's having to continuously justify himself to people within his own political party. I also feel like because of the fact that this is the Seven of Wands, I do feel with the Seven, it's about listening to your higher self, listening to your higher consciousness, really connecting with your intuition. I don't necessarily feel that Boris is using his intuition to be able to deal with this situation. Instead, I do feel like Boris is really much taking action, but not necessarily understanding how effective that will be. I do feel like he's trying to be logical and he's trying to be rational, but he's very much conflicted in terms of what may be the best option. And he, as far as he's concerned, he's doing the best that he can within the limited restrictions that he has to follow himself. With the Six of Cups, I do feel like he believes that this situation will improve. I do feel with the Six, it's about harmony and balance coming in, and it's about when we're looking at cups, we're looking at the water elements, so we're dealing with all things to do with intuition and emotion. I do feel that he believes this situation will improve. I also feel when I'm looking at this Six of Cups that he is going to be in a situation where he will start to make necessary changes, which is going to give greater autonomy. But I do think that we're a long way off. I do feel with the Six of Cups, because of the fact that it relates to the past, I don't necessarily feel that he is going to ease the restrictions. I do feel like he will continue to keep the restrictions in place, simply because of the fact that he doesn't necessarily feel that they've necessarily got the right grasp on the virus just yet. So I do feel that this is a potential for the lockdown to happen and to continue throughout January is what I'm seeing here. I'm also seeing with the Hermit card, Boris definitely feels like he's isolated and he definitely feels like he's alone. I do feel that the reason why he feels like he's alone is because anytime he makes a suggestion, it's very much opposed by people within his own party, and he's constantly having to defend himself and constantly having to justify himself or to fight. So I definitely feel like he is in a period of time where he feels very much alone, very, very isolated. The Hermit energy is Virgoan energy, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So when we're talking about mercurial energy, Boris is literally going within to be able to figure out a logical and practical solution in terms of what he needs to do. He's really trying to think, how can I tackle this? How can I keep the country going? How can I keep the economy going and still keep people safe? And he's torn between a rock and a hard place. And the reason being is because of the fact that there is so much money that Boris has had to borrow in order to keep the schemes like the furlough keep it going. So there is a need, because of the fact that the productivity in the country has gone down, there is a need for him to still want to keep in place some semblance of normalcy so that businesses can run. But he is very much thinking about how is this going to be continuing? How can I keep businesses going, but also how can I keep people safe? I also feel like Boris is being told here that he really needs to pay attention to listening to his intuition instead of listening to naysayers, listening to what his intuition is telling him in terms of what needs to happen next. Okay, let's see what potentially will Boris announce. What are the changes, or what is it that Boris will announce on the 30th of December? So the card that has fallen out is Judgment. Oh, wow. Okay, so we've got the Nine of Wands, and what was hidden behind that is the Seven of Swords. Let's have a look. Okay, let's have a look at the bottom of the deck before I begin. We've got the Star. So the Star is Aquarius energy. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. I do feel that with the Star card appearing here, he is going to announce some significant changes, which I believe is going to limit or restrict our movement even more within the UK. I don't believe that he's going to ease off the tier 4 restrictions. I don't believe that he is planning on doing anything apart from trying to keep the economy going. But I do feel that he will plan to eventually make some changes which is going to take away even more freedoms that we enjoy as a people. So I do feel like there are some plans in the work. There is some ideas, there's some thoughts that Boris is thinking about, certain laws that he wants to implement. These are going to be proposed, but they won't actually take effect until January. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact that a lot of the laws that we have that give us fundamental freedoms and rights, because we do not have a constitution in the UK, comes from European directives. Now, until we regain, so to speak, our sovereignty after, I believe, the 31st of December, then what's going to happen is I do feel that Boris is going to repeal certain laws that we have, certain domestic laws that we have that were implemented by EU directives in order to gain greater control. So I do feel like our freedoms are going to be restricted even more. What I'm seeing with the Judgment card, here is Boris has already made certain choices in terms of what he is going to announce and how he's going to handle this. He is going to continue this lockdown. This lockdown I'm seeing is going to be continuing in January. I do feel that he's going to announce that this is for the greatest and the highest good. He's also going to, what I'm seeing here is I do feel that there's going to be a delay to the opening of schools. I don't feel that schools are going to be opening on the 4th, and the reason being is because of the fact that Boris's rationale is going to be that if we can increase the amount of people that are being tested and be vaccinated, then he will allow more freedoms for people to be able to mix. But until that has occurred, I don't necessarily feel that he is going to announce any easing on the restrictions, whether it be tier 4 or easing the lockdown. The lockdown is definitely set to continue into January. And he is going to talk about the fact that if people are mixing, he's very much concerned about the infection rate, because the infection rate is spiraling. And there is also concerns that he has with regards to this new strain. So he's definitely going to announce that there is going to be a delay in schools opening. I feel like there's going to be, especially with this star card at the bottom, I do feel that there'll be more online learning that will be taking place rather than big groups gathering within schools, colleges and universities, simply because of the fact that he wants to first roll out a bigger amount of testing and vaccinations that he plans on doing. And what I'm seeing is that with the Nine of Wands here, he is feeling very much like he has to protect the economy, protect the citizens, because if the death rate becomes too high, the economy is not going to run. So he's very much aware of what the situation is. He understands that in this season, the rate of infections are going to be a lot higher, and therefore he is going to implement more measures of testing and vaccinations that have to be rolled out before he eases any particular restrictions on people mixing outside of their bubbles. Boris is also very, very much defensive. He's in a very defensive energy because he's been heavily criticized about his handling of the situation. And he has really gone through this conflict. I do feel as well that there are people, there's at least 2 people within Boris's camp, within the Conservative Party or within his cabinet ministers, that have essentially spoken to him to advise him that he should consider resigning. I do feel that there's a lot of people that are not currently supporting the way in which he's handling the situation. I do feel like he's being heavily criticized by members of his own camp. I do also feel that I don't see Boris continuing as Prime Minister beyond March. I do feel that there's going to be something that's going to happen in which he's going to be leaving, and therefore they're going to recruit again from within the Conservative Party. I do feel there's a few candidates that want to put themselves forward for acting Prime Minister or interim Prime Minister when Boris does leave. But I do see that it's going to be possible that around about March time, I feel that Boris is going to be announcing that he will be leaving. What I'm also seeing as well with this 7 of Swords, when I see the 7 of Swords, it represents that a partial truth has been told and that there's a lot of information that is being withheld. So when I say a partial truth has been told, if you look at the swords represents the element of air, so it's all to do with thoughts. And if you look at this person, they're trying to sneak away with the 5 swords, which is 5 representing confusion, representing conflict, representing disagreement, but leaving 2 swords behind. So only telling partial truth, but not telling the whole truth. I do feel that Boris is not really telling us the true intention in terms of what he's going to do. Boris is going to announce part of the fact that the lockdown will continue and that there will be no easing on restrictions, but then he will later on make another announcement in January. I'm seeing like in a fortnight, he's going to make another announcement in which he's going to be implementing further restrictions. I do feel, for me, this confirms the fact that he can only say so much now, because technically speaking, between the 30th and the 31st, European Union law is still supreme over UK law. But until the sovereignty has been restored back to the UK, which will be from like the 1st of January, there's certain things that he's unable to announce because of the fact that it can still be challenged. But I do feel that this here represents him taking away a lot of the laws that were implemented in order to give basic fundamental freedoms that we all enjoy. I really strongly believe that the Human Rights Act is going to be, as it's the only sort of constitution that we have in the UK, I do feel that that's going to be repealed. And I do feel that there's going to be another law that he's going to implement in which he is going to make the vaccination mandatory, particularly for those that work in the public sector. I do feel that he's going to roll out more laws which will restrict people if they fail to take the vaccine, because I do feel that he's going to be rolling out more testing. We've got the Tower card. We've got the World card. One more card. Ooh, we've got the Emperor card. Boris. Wow. Okay, let's look at the bottom of the deck before I say anything. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. Slowly, Boris is going to take away fundamental freedoms or rights of people very, very slowly. He's not going to do it all at once. It's going to be very gradual. The more there is compliance with the agreements, is the more that there's going to be changes made, in which he's going to be using the government to enforce greater limitations and restrictions. I do feel like this is inevitable, and I do feel like this represents the fact that these changes that he's going to make are going to be so different to what we've experienced before. It literally is almost like a demolition of the old legal system in order to replace a new legal system, but one that is going to be extremely rigid and extremely restrictive. The World card here, so the Tower card represents will. This is Mars energy. So we're talking about Aries energy. So I do feel like he's going to be forcing people against their will to be able to comply with the new laws that he plans on implementing. And he will start I think he's going to go through in January, in which he sort of makes the proposal. So he'll make a members bill in which he poses a draft proposal of the laws that he wants to implement, which is going to change how we live entirely. I really do feel like this is going to mean that there's going to be even greater isolation. The World card here represents Saturn energy. And when we look at Saturn, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and it's about discipline, it's about limitations, it's about restrictions, it's about living within a particular boundary. I do feel that this for me represents him further creating restrictions and limitations around what it is that we are able to do. This is greatly going to affect our economy. This is going to affect the way in which we're able to work, the way we're able to move. I do feel that unless people agree to the mass testing and agree to take on the vaccination, there is going to be even more restrictions that he's going to impose. The Emperor energy here represents the authoritarian, the controller of the tarot deck. He is the one that is in charge of absolutely everyone. He represents all four kings in one. So I do feel that Boris is going to be asserting even more control, even more authority, and even more restrictions. I do feel as well that there is going to be a change in the way in which a lot of us are going to be earning our money. I don't know why I'm seeing this, but I'm seeing there's going to be a change in the way in which we're earning our money. I definitely feel that with these particular limitations and restrictions, it's actually going to force a lot of people to be more independent, simply because of the fact that there are certain sectors of industry that we just won't, they've gone, but they won't be coming back. So therefore, it means that there's going to have to be new things to replace it. So I do feel with the Tower, the World, and the Emperor, this represents a new way of doing things, a new way of working, a new system that's going to be implemented. I do feel that this is going to give rise to even more entrepreneurial pursuits in which people are going to be running online businesses. So I do feel that this is going to give greater independence to individuals rather than corporations. I see a lot more corporations as well going into liquidation as a result of these restrictions that Boris is going to announce, which is going to mean that our economy is going to suffer even more as well. I am going to close out this reading with a few more cards. So what is the outcome in January? What can we expect from Boris and the government? What will Boris, any more news on what Boris will do in January? So we've got the Three of Pentacles, Four of Swords, Too many cards. One more card, please. That's too many. I just wanted one and I get 4. Do you know what? I'll just take these 2. Right, so we've got the 2 of Swords and we've got the 8 of Pentacles. Let's have a look. Just move these down. Bottom of the deck, we've got the Fool. This is Uranus energy. This is about a new beginning, a new way of doing things, changes, innovation. This is also about totally trusting in the universe and trusting what is going to unfold and what is going to occur. So this is Boris's disposition. I feel that he has a lot of faith in the changes that he's going to be making, and that it means that we are going to be able to tackle this situation with the virus. But I do feel that he's very, very unaware of what's going to happen, because he's not, if you take this quite literally, he has a very, I would say, romanticized view of being able to combat the virus, but he's not seeing the bigger picture. He's not able to see what's right in front of him. I do feel with the 3 of Pentacles and the 4 of Swords and the 2 of Swords and the 8 of Pentacles, he is very much concerned about the economy. Boris is in a situation now with the 3 of Pentacles in which he is trying to organize another trade deal with a country internationally, a country outside of the EU. He wants to formulate some sort of partnership and trade agreement in order to sort of subsidize some of the things that we may have lost in this trade deal with Europe. So he's very much focused on holding these meetings in order to secure more money, because we have lost quite a lot. So he's trying to formulate an allegiance or a partnership with another country outside of Europe. He's very much contemplating, he's taking his time and he's contemplating ways in which we can move forward and still operate so that the money is still coming in, because we are in a massive recession. This is not only just in the UK, but this is globally. So he's really sort of thinking and strategizing how we can create more financial stability and security, because of the fact that the government have got so much money that they borrowed. I think they borrowed, the last time I checked, it was about 1.5 billion that was borrowed. So there is still a need to have a way of stimulating the economy, and he's actually trying to formulate some sort of strategy and some sort of agreement or partnership with a country outside of the EU, which is going to generate more income. And I also feel like it will generate more jobs as well. At the moment, Boris is stuck between a rock and a hard place with this 2 of Swords energy, simply because of the fact that, based on the fact that we have this announcement of a new strain being present in the UK, it is very much going to hold or put on pause any agreement that he has with this other country that he's looking to do some trading with, simply because of the fact that the UK at the moment is on a number of different countries' flight restrictions. So there is no way of being able to sort of move internationally at this precise moment. Also, it's about timing for Boris, because he can't effectively sign any agreements until we have fully left the European Union. So we've got that. And then the final card to close out this reading, we've got the 8 of Pentacles. Boris is very much focused on the way in which we can make more money and stimulate the economy. He is trying to figure out a way of being able to create new jobs, not necessarily replace the ones that have been lost, but create new jobs, because there is going to be a massive situation in which the unemployment rate that we've already got in the UK is going to soar in January. So he's trying to figure out a way of being able to balance things out and to create more opportunities and more jobs, so that there is less dependence and reliance on state funds, because the funds that they have borrowed is finite, and therefore it means that it will eventually run out. But I do also feel that in January there's going to be an increase in a lot of people relying on state subsidized income support or benefits, simply because of the fact that a lot of independent businesses, major businesses and individuals have gone bankrupt as a result, or have essentially gone into liquidation because they're no longer able to operate or trade, simply because of the restrictions that have been imposed on us in the country. So yeah, so that is what I'm seeing for Boris Johnson. And please feel free to like, to share and to subscribe, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.